Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. We're going to touch on a bit of TA today. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday. Obviously, Bitcoin price came down a little bit. We're going to talk about the market. And then I've got quite a lot of news from Ripple news, CBDCs, and then some stuff about Bitcoin. And the reason I talk about Bitcoin specifically, guys, is because it does have a direct impact on the market now. Or it will do still for the foreseeable future until we start to see a proper decoupling and maybe an alt season coming in. And even if and when that happens, that is only normally for a short period where it decouples and then we're back to looking at Bitcoin again. So it's always good to take into consideration what Bitcoin price action is doing. A bit of on-chain analysis for Bitcoin as well. Then a little bit at the end about a DeFi project that I have just recently got involved in. But okay, let's get on to it. Remember guys, if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe and drop a comment. I really appreciate that. It's a free way to help out the channel. And yeah, that's it. Let's get on with the video. Right, so we've talked about this support line here that I drew in yesterday as a key level of support. We lost that yesterday, and I'm going to show you a little reason why I think that might be. Especially, it's a bit more clear in Ethereum, etc. But as you can see, we did come below yesterday. I think we could range in and around this range for a little while we found some support. We've still not broken the range high, so that's cool. We came down to this level here. Look, the first little rejection that we had of breaking back into an uptrend from when Bitcoin came down here. Little further rejection, and then they had a further sell-off down all the way to the 32,000 mark. That's where we look to be holding support right now on the top of this previous range. So other than that, it's not too much to say for Bitcoin. We took a little bounce at 42,700. We then rally back up towards that support that I was talking about, and we've rejected that and come back down in the last hour. We've rejected that a little bit. So again, let's just keep our eye on it, guys, to see what happens. I personally don't believe we've got a big drop in coming. Maybe a few more percent. We could come a little bit lower. Where we'd be looking for support. The lowest we're going to come, in my opinion, probably 42. The lowest is 40-ish. I don't think we'll come down that low, but it's possible. I do think we'll see another impulsive wave, and we're going to talk about some on-chain analysis that's looking pretty positive. We've obviously got Bitcoin Miami happening now, and there are things to take into consideration. We could get some good news at any point. We're waiting for a decision on a spot Bitcoin ETF still. They're the sort of things that I've got my eye on from this Bitcoin conference, but I also do think TA wise we could range down here for a week or so before continuing to push on, and I do think we will push upwards, but just slowly probably, unless, as I said, we have some explosive news. Elon Musk is doing a lot of the minute, so could we see something from him? And then we'll now look at Ethereum, and I'll show you what I was talking about where I was saying it's a bit more obvious. So we had a bit of a void in Ethereum. We pushed up. We came down, we found support at this level here, which was at 3,182, but it wasn't really a key level of support. It didn't quite close the gap, so we had a bit of a void right here for Ethereum, and as you can see, we've closed that now, and we're holding this level, which there was some buying action here and some buying action here, but again, it's mainly to do with what is going on with Bitcoin. This could be a nice double bottom play forming here should we get some decent price action. Now, one good thing about this, guys, is we've got a lot of space now on the RSI to push back up. That's on the hourly. So I didn't mean to click 3. I don't really look at 3 hourly very often, but the 3 hourly actually looks quite nice. The 200 day look, we're just sitting on the 200 day there, and the 4 hourly, we are still in that downtrend, but we're right at the bottom of the RSI now. So we've got so much area for potential upside if we do get that break and a bit of a few positive 4 hour candles. Let's look at XRP specifically. We're in and around that 78 cent, which I did say was a point of interest. I didn't think we'd come below it, but we obviously have. Again, we're looking at what Bitcoin's going to do. I still think that cup and handle pattern is going to play out as we talked about the other day, and I posted over there on Twitter. There's definitely a argument for this pattern here. It comes a bit lower to like there. And let's have a look at this second. This is the handle here. Bang. That sort of pattern there with a breakout target is about $1.01. When that comes, I did say that I think it will be about a week's time. So we're looking, where are we now? We are on the 7th, we're looking at 14th of April. So we had to do quite a big push to get there, maybe a bit later than that. But that's what I'll be looking at for a potential play. Again, guys, We've also got anything could happen with the lawsuit at any point. We're waiting on the emails from William Hinman emails from the judge to see what her decision is going to be on those. And we're also waiting on the Estabrook notes. Whether we do or don't get the Estabrook notes, I don't know. But whether we get the Hinman emails, I think we probably will. And if we do get those, I think that'd be very bullish for XRP specifically. But I also think it might push the SEC towards a settlement. And that's about all the TA wanted to do today, because I've got loads to talk about. So this is the first thing and the main thing to do with Ripple and XRP. I've had a few people message me recently panicking about market cap, saying that one person said, oh, the market cap's increased by $1 billion, and someone else said to me that 200 million XRP have been put back into circulation. And there was an article out saying that the price of XRP was going to come down because of this. But I honestly believe, well, we know obviously every month that $1 billion gets released from escrow, then they lock up whatever they want to lock up. They use that to incentivize new companies to come and use the XRP ledger and trial out XRP. They also use it for slippages and any kind of cross-border transactions that might have used XRP. But there's also this, Ripple to give out 1 billion XRP in developer grants. The first two waves of the XRP ledger have offered 6 million. The XRP ledger grant has offered 6 million in funding to 50 open source projects built on the XRPL. So that's what I think that this extra XRP is going. Wow, I can't get my words out today, guys. Sorry about that. That's where I think it's going. There's $1 billion in developer grants, so go and check it out, guys, if you want to try and develop on the XRP ledger. To be honest, I literally might message him because I've got a project I'm kind of participating in at the minute, and I may run it on the XRP ledger yet. I'm not sure yet. This is the next big thing that I wanted to talk about, guys. We had a big article come out from Ripple saying CBDCs from hype to how, making financial inclusion into reality part 2. And I also want to push out there that Ripple on the 31st of March released a document saying that they help make a framework for Korea with some banks in Korea about crypto. It's called Why Policy Regulation for Crypto in Korea is Key. They also emphasize sorry, give me 1 second, have a drink of water. They also emphasize the importance of the APAC region, which is what I keep going on about. APAC region seems to be the furthest ahead with like digital banking, and they also have a lot of people who are underbanked, so it makes sense for them to try and lead the innovation race in terms of digital banking. And Ripple seem to really be trying to hone in on that area. They've got Brooks Entwistle out there really trying to create partnerships. He seems to be doing a great job since he's been there. Obviously had the partnership with Tranglo. And actually talking about that, if I can find this article straight away, will I be able to find it right now? Probably not. Yes, this is the one. So this was retweeted by Digital Perspectives where I saw it. Michael Val5Link says, China's messaging app giant WeChat reportedly enabled digital yuan settlements on its platform. The service is available in 23 regions where financial products is being trialed, including Beijing and Shanghai. We talked about this yesterday or the day before on my YouTube, guys. Tranglo, which we've just talked about there, 40% stake held by Ripple. They are a partner with WeChat and also Alipay. They settle and WeChat and Alipay between them settle about $27 trillion a year in mobile transactions, and they're partnered with Tranglo. Whether they're going to use ODL at some point or not, we know Tranglo have 22 corridors open or maybe 25 corridors open for ODL, so we may see some kind of on-demand liquidity come from WeChat, maybe to help their transactions. Again, we don't know yet. What I personally believe is happening in China and the same in India is they've rolled out a really, really strict framework for crypto while they sort out what they want to do, and then they'll ease the restrictions and really start to put in different aspects of the market that they can really control and they can put in the way that they want to. So let's have a quick look at this CBDC article. In our recent survey, 1,600 financial leaders across 22 countries, we uncovered some pretty astounding insights. A whopping 85% of payment leaders at financial institutions globally think their country will launch a digital currency in the next 4 years. So within 4 years, guys, 85% of the countries they've spoken to will release a digital currency. This is mad. I honestly think that they're going to come a bit quicker than that as well, especially as some start to come out. I reckon it'll be, don't think it'll be like a, oh, everyone's releasing a digital currency. I reckon they'll just be drip fed in. They talk about key hurdles going beyond the hype. They've got identity, offline access, security, and then paving a path forwards. And they do have a whole CBDC white paper here on Ripple's website, which you can go and check out. You just have to fill in your details here, and then you can look through the white paper. It's pretty cool. I do have it downloaded on my PC somewhere. And other than that, guys, we're going to move on to the next little piece of information, which is from a while ago. Look, October the 17th. And Bearable Bull brought this up in his YouTube earlier, so I thought I'd remind you guys of this as well. In July, there's a reassessment of the SDR basket, which is, I think it's special drawing rights, and I don't exactly know what it stands for, but it's basically a basket of currencies. Well, I know what it stands for, but I don't know like what the exact use case of it for. I know that it's for banks, and it's basically a basket of currencies that the banks look towards to like set their banking standards. And I know that it's getting reassessed in July, and there's a lot of talk about an electronic version coming, and potentially Jim Rickards, he said, people are saying it's not my idea of a reliable source. That said, even if the IMF needs devs, I'm sure Ripple has some good ones. That doesn't mean XRP will be a reserve asset, more like an ESDR. I just think the timing of the SDR as a reserve being refreshed in July is very convenient, with potential what's going on with the lawsuit and the new crypto regulations. But again, that's probably just me speculating, and we'll get on to what OLeary is talking about here. This is a little clip from OLeary on Twitter. Go and check her out. She's awesome for research. So we've got a little clip of Hester Peirce here, John Deaton, and a professor from Cornell. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm sorry about that. You can see it on screen there. But they all talk about basically barriers to crypto, and destroying a false narrative. So let's just quickly play this, and then let's discuss it.
I think what a lot of people have noticed is that because a blockchain does allow you to track transactions, it's not really a great way to do a lot of things. Like, it's not a great money laundering tool because people are able to track you.
As far as the FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt about criminal and illicit activities, the FBI, the CIA, they've all come out and said they hope that criminals use the blockchain. It's a public distributed ledger. You'd have to be a moron to engage your criminal enterprise on Bitcoin or any of these other cryptos.
Now, how do you lose your anonymity, your privacy, some of the things that crypto was built upon?
It turns out that Bitcoin is not anonymous as had initially been assumed. In fact, this is one good thing, because it now turns out that Bitcoin is being used much less for illicit transactions than in its early, somewhat wilder West days. It turns out that if you use Bitcoin extensively or use it to acquire real goods or services, then it is possible, as we've seen from many examples where the FBI has been able to uncover these transactions, to connect digital identities to real identities.
So this is obviously bullish for crypto. We've got two legal and one professor there talking about that it's quite easy now to track cryptocurrency transactions, etc. This comes against what Senator Warren's been talking about a lot recently. She's really anti-crypto. She's saying that Putin's going to use it to like get around sanctions, and everyone else now is saying actually no, it's pretty easy to track nowadays, which is good if we want mainstream adoption, which we do in the space, guys, or I do personally as an investor speculator, because I want my assets to increase in value. The only way that's going to happen is if there's increased demand. We get increased demand from institutions, hedge funds, pension funds, all these sorts of things, and these people who will come into the space when we have regulation, which is the next sort of things I want to touch on. So that goes hand in hand with what Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has been saying. And today she came out and said Bitcoin and crypto should have the same rules as traditional financial system. It's more positivity for the market. And we've got two little clips here from Kevin OLeary's YouTube video that I want to play for you guys. He's talking about how he can't hold for his company or his businesses, he can't hold Bitcoin as an asset because there's no regulation for it, so they don't know how to hold it. But he was saying that they hold companies that mine Bitcoin, an index of the top companies who mine Bitcoin as their exposure to Bitcoin, but he also is saying that the SEC, etc., are coming down hard on carbon and these sorts of things. So the green initiative is massively in the public eye at the minute, which is what Chris Larsen said to Bitcoin to the Bitcoin community the other day. Everyone came out in like absolute rage against him, saying, because he said that he wanted them to move from proof of work to proof of stake, and he put £5 million aside or $5 million aside for people who, if they wanted to try and do it. And everyone was saying that he was paying $5 million to get rid of Bitcoin. Not what he was doing. He's addressing the same points that they're addressing in this discussion here, which I think will be important, because he even references Gary Gensler in this and says Gary Gensler is really going to go after like cryptos that are bad for the environment. So the green narrative is massive. It's also in the executive order about green energy and trying to be green. So, and obviously we know Elon Musk and Tesla said they would accept Bitcoin again when over 50% of its energy came from renewable energy sources. But yeah, let's just listen to what Kevin O'Leary's got to say and then discuss that as well.
The executive order out of Biden, I sold it.
Which stocks are those? The mining
specifically
stocks?
Yeah, specifically we owned Hut 8. We were indexing some of our my mandate. I can't own Bitcoin. I mean, I can own it personally, but if it's in an operating company, I can't do it because we don't have a regulation, a rule on that yet. And that's why most of it is actually held by high net worth and hedge funds like Roy's, where they don't have that compliance issue. I do have a compliance issue. So we indexed and it was working just great. Marathon, fantastic trading vehicle against the price of Bitcoin. Riot, Hut 8, and Hive. And so they're good liquid stocks. They're easy to get in and out of, but I don't own a single share. Dump them all. I mean, they're going to be forced. They're going to run into carbon audits, and their expenses are going to go up. And we can talk about where capital is flowing, but it certainly isn't that model anymore.
Okay, but
so I think that's very interesting. He's basically saying he wants to hold Bitcoin, but we don't have the regulation there. So we were holding stocks, but now they're going to come down heavy on the stocks of the miners, but now we're going to come down heavy on the miners because of the carbon issues and the environmental issues. This is putting pressure on the SEC because he's going to be a very important person. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in his position who want to take some kind of position in Bitcoin itself, but they can't because of the regulatory issues, and now they can't even hold stocks because of the environmental issues. So I think that will put extra pressure on Gary Gensler to come down on that. And then I've got another little clip that I wanted to play, which is around here somewhere, 26. Let's go from here. I think we're going to see an ad here. So let's see.
Loomis, all of these bills, the SEC, they're coming down hard on.
So we have got a nice advert there. So let's see what Kevin O'Leary is about to say now.
ESG thing, and ESG has to be dealt with. The private sector, the public sector, the president, the Loomis, all of these bills, the SEC, they're coming down hard on carbon and carbon audits. And it's going to affect this industry in a really, I argue, positive way. Except if you're an existing Bitcoin miner that is using carbon credits, then you're screwed.
All right. So Kevin, let me understand this, because we know that Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, they launched the Bitcoin Mining Council last year in response to these ESG concerns. We've had several guests on Kitco saying what you're saying, that Bitcoin mining is actually facilitating the development of green energy resources because it's funding these projects. So it's good for decarbonization in the sense that, as you're saying, that.
So that's the most important part, really. He's basically saying that they're going to come down hard on current miners and the current format, and they're going to try and replace it with either green energy. And he talks about here that that dams and stuff like that, there's loads of wasted energy, and they could use that, and they could put like wind farms into dams and etc., and different ways they could make renewable energy, and then that would be great for the environment. The energy wouldn't be wasted. We'd have a new monetary system in terms of something to invest into that would be carbon neutral. So he's saying that long term it will be positive. We're just in that phase at the minute where we're not sure. But he also says, and I don't know the exact clip for this, but he says there's a lot of money going to come into Bitcoin specifically as soon as there's regulatory certainty. So let's keep our eye on that space. It's definitely a topic to keep your eye on. I think that it's interesting that he was using stocks and shares of mining companies to get his exposure to Bitcoin, and now he's sold those, even though he's massively pro crypto, and he talks about all cryptos being software, and I like the analogy where it is software, but now he's sold his exposure to Bitcoin basically, because unless he's holding personally, but he sold his company's exposure because of the environmental narrative. So maybe we'll see a big crackdown on that sort of area. And another thing, some confluence with potential, like a bullish uptrend come in. So that's obviously long term. This is Alpha Beta Soup. So go and check him out on YouTube as well if you want to learn more about on-chain analysis. He's quite bearish. He's in the same boat as Blockchain Backer. He's bearish, like longer term. Well, not long term, medium term. He thinks that Bitcoin's topped. Or I don't know if he thinks that Bitcoin's top, but he thinks that for a month or two we're not going to see an uptrend. But he's talking today about network activity, and he says, well, I'll let him speak for himself, and then we'll see what we'll try and discuss that as well.
Price is not exactly sexy. So again, as we mentioned as the theme of the video here, we're seeing positives. Although we have a general bearish outlook for the next few months, the short to medium term, there are positives underneath the surface. And it's possible that if these headwinds continue to grow, they may threaten my bearish thesis. We'll have to see. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but this is the kind of thing to keep an eye on as we move forward here over the next few months.
So basically what he's talking about, we didn't get that to hear that in that clip, but what he's talking about is that the number of active users on the network and active wallets is increasing, and that's what you normally see before you see a rally. He said he wants to see way more of it first before we can continue. But that coupled up with the low amount or the liquid supply of Bitcoin is a bullish sign for the market. So just to finish off the video, guys, I have taken a chance on a bit of a DeFi project. I've never really bought anything DeFi before. This is definitely not financial advice. Nothing I say ever is, but I trust Jordan Harry a lot, and I like his opinion, and I think that he's a good guy. I've spoken to him on my podcast. He works with the Bearable Bull, so he's got a lot of he's just trusted in the space. I don't know what the right terminology is. My brain's a bit dead today. Oh, guys, by the way, I'm sorry that I released my video quite late today. My computer was doing an update all morning and didn't realise what was going on with it. But basically, Jordan Harry is a CMO at Phoenix. And this is them if you want to check them out. They're called Phoenix_Fi. I have no affiliation with them at all, by the way. It's a complete gamble for me. I don't know too much about DeFi at all. But I opened 2 of their nests, and they are quite expensive. To open one, I opened them today. Look, as you can see, my rewards are growing. They earn you 0.225 fire a day, and I think fire's worth like $278, but you have to have 10 fire to get a nest or whatever. So I think it cost me about $5,500 or maybe $6,000, and I think I worked out that you'll get your money back within 44 days if the price of the asset doesn't decrease. So there's obviously a chance that happens, but who knows what will happen. I'm just taking it more of an experiment. I understand my risks, and yeah, it's not a massive percentage of my portfolio, but it is still a percentage. It's still a bit in there, obviously. So yeah, don't do it if you are worried about money or anything. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you guys, being transparent with what I'm doing. If it comes good, I can tell you about it, and if it doesn't, then I can tell you about it too. So that's everything from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like, subscribe, share it with a friend, drop me a comment, hit that notification bell if you don't have it already on, and I will speak to you all in the next one. Peace up, A-Town down, as Usher would say.